Hello and welcome to a special episode of League One Lowdown, part of our interview series that we're doing over the summer. And I'm delighted to say I'm joined by legend of the EFL, I think it's fair to say, Paul Farman. Paul, how are we?
I'm not bad. Have you been polishing my statue then if I'm a legend or what?
Well, we'll get into it, but
I'm only joking, I'm joking.
I'll unveil my shirt here. You're a bit of a club legend at
Oh,
Lincoln.
thank
It's
you.
fair to say from your time there. First of all, then we'll get into just your reflections of your career so far. You've been around, like I say, you're a bit of an EFL legend. Played at numerous clubs, known least Lincoln, Stevenage, Carlisle, and Barrow most recently. How did it all start? How did you get into football, and why a goalkeeper?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't want to be a goalkeeper. I was obviously wanted to be a centre forward. In school, playing football through primary school, I played outfield. Then, kind of, I think my mum and dad got sick of me during the summer holidays, and they sent me on a goalkeeper course to get me out of the house. And a manager of a local team, North Shields, said, "Do you want to come and train?" So I must have been doing something right, and I ended up going to the training. And I was when I was younger, I wasn't like the most like outgoing kid, especially at that age, like under sevens. I was quite a shy lad, and I was so nervous about going to a football training, like a group thing, and basically my dad tricked me into saying I was going to play football with one of his friend's sons, and I turned up at a training, and I wouldn't get out of the car. So the manager came and got me out of the car, and then I trained and I absolutely loved it. I had it was unbelievable. And then since then, never looked back. But I have had spells playing outfield still when I was at the county. Um, when we played for the county, we had an A team and a B team, and I played in goal for the A team. Then the B team game used to always be straight after the A team game, so I'll play up front for them. Prolific.
Ah, I suppose 6'5", you kind of didn't really have a say as to where you were going to end up, did you? In goal, it's kind of natural, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just fell in love with it, and as my career has gone on, like something about being a goalie, I don't know. I just you've got to thrive in them situations, and uh, going into my career as I've got older, like I absolutely love it.
I mean, obviously, people will know you most for your time at Lincoln. I suppose is fair to say. You've had a lot of memorable moments at the club, but you first joined the club on loan whilst playing at Gateshead. What was it about that first? You played 8 games, I think, for Lincoln. That first spell at the club that made you say, "Do you know what? I want to come back here and make something of myself at the Imps."
I think obviously I wasn't playing at Gateshead. They wanted an older keeper in goal at the time. I was pretty young. And it come about coming on loan to Lincoln, and I remember them being in the conference at the time. What's it called? It was called the
Yeah, the
Sleep
conference at
Where
the time.
Bet,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
yeah. And I remember seeing it, and I remember someone mentioned a bit of interest about me, and I googled it, and I was like, "Whoa! Like seriously, this is something I want to do." So as soon as I obviously done the Google and seen the size of the ground and stuff, seeing like the history of the club, it was something that I was dying to get done. And I remember the phone call, and literally the in the evening and the next day, I was driving down at like 5, 6 in the morning. I didn't even have a sat nav in my car, nothing. So I actually had to use my iPad at the time. So from then on, that's been the start of playing at Lincoln, and played them 8 games, and unfortunately got an injury. Like so, I had to go back to Gateshead, and Gateshead said they didn't want to offer me a deal, and obviously I was obviously gutted, like because I'd always been living at home, and I had the home comforts and my parents being around and stuff, and obviously the thought of moving's a pretty daunting then, and obviously I signed at Gateshead, and I never looked back. I absolutely loved the place.
And then obviously that second spell, I suppose the main spell at Lincoln, it wasn't all plain sailing for you, was it? It got broke up by that switch to Boston United for a couple of games. What was that like having to almost, I don't want to say accept defeat that you'd lost that number one shirt, but then that chance to then come back in and get that number 1 shirt, and then all the memories that followed after. We'll get onto the FA Cup in a moment, but all of those memories afterwards, like, what was that like as a player?
Yeah, it was mad. I was so deflated at the time when that actually happened. So I got an injury away at Hyde, and then we obviously got Nick Townsend in. Great lad, love him, but still speak to him now. Still play against him. Obviously, yeah, Nick came in, done exceptionally well. You could tell, obviously, he was the real deal at the time. Had that bad injury, then throughout the rest of the season, I was injured because it was quite a heavy one. Then in the summer, obviously, like, worked my nuts off to get back fit, done everything I needed to do, and I was back fit. Then in pre-season, obviously, I got told we were bringing a goalkeeper in, and yeah, to be fair, I was absolutely devastated. You just had to accept it, and it was mad at the time. I said on a previous podcast, I got told, literally walked to my car instantly. I think it might have been before training. Rang my agent, and I was like, I need to get out. I was in that headspace. Well, I think you can look throughout my career. I've always played games. I've never been really willing to sit on the bench. I never wanted to have any regret of doing that. So I said to my agent, like, let's get a loan. And luckily, obviously, Boston close by. A lot of history with that club again. It was a perfect fit for me. And I went in and played a few games, enjoyed it. Probably enjoyed it way too much. And I was a couple of weeks in, of, say, like, I don't know, maybe it might have been a couple of weeks in. I was like, do you know what? Part-time football is me. I think this is me now. And I remember reaching out to my old goalie coach who I had at Gateshead. He was a fireman, and he played part-time football. And I actually messaged him saying that, look, I want to do the switch. I want to be a fireman and play football. Then I think we had a FA Cup game against Altrincham at home away.
Yeah.
And I remember the manager at the time was Gary Simpson. And I came back in. Nick got injured. No, Nick was cup tied. Birmingham said he couldn't play.
They record him, didn't they? I think.
Yeah. Then I actually got injured at Boston, and that's why I was in the training ground. I done the ligaments in my shoulder, and like boring stuff. Really, like, that damaged my shoulder. Then I was getting treatment with Kev Oxby at the time, and the manager came in, and he was like, "He's back, and I'm thinking, I've got no idea what you're talking about. He's like, "You're back in now." I was like, "All right, okay," because never really had a kind of relationship with Gary Simpson. I wasn't his player, so I kind of understood at the time. But being young, you kind of have that don't want to curse, like, a kind of an FU mentality, which I always pride myself on to prove people wrong. And I said, look, because I obviously had my head set on that I wanted to go part-time and probably try and get something at Boston and become a fireman maybe. And I said, look, if I come back, I do well, I don't want to come out. This is, like, obviously a big thing for me. I think we played away at Boston and we drew. Then it was a Tuesday night game under the lights at Central Bank, and we won. Yeah. I kept a clean sheet, and I think it's probably one of the, which sounds crazy, that one of the most emotional times after a game I've ever been. Yeah, because we won, and I don't know, I felt like, do you know what I mean? I felt like I was.
You proved yourself.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like I said, yeah, the FU mentality. Like, that's the kind of thing I had, and I've still got a photo of. I've still got it. I think it might be on one of my Instagram or my Twitter of me celebrating after that game, and you can obviously see I'm quite emotional. And ever since then, again, never looked back.
I mean, I don't think even you would have predicted in your wildest dreams after that game what would have happened for Lincoln. I mean, just looking at Wikipedia and all the other articles about you, player of the season once or twice or whatnot. You got obviously the incredible FA Cup run, promotion to League Two. We'll start with that FA Cup run. Just what was it like? Because everyone's seen the header that obviously got Lincoln beat Burnley, and obviously everyone's seen I don't want to say the demolition job that Arsenal did on you, but obviously that wouldn't have been your favourite game, I suppose, from a goalkeeping point of view. But what was that like? What was the feeling in the dressing room? Did you know that this was special? How did you try and go about it? Because managers will just say, "Oh, we'll treat it like any other game," but it wasn't, was it?
No, the whole thing was a bit crazy. I think that year, obviously, Danny and Nicky were relentless. Training, mentality of the group, how we went about our business, what we kind of grew at the club, the fan base leading into that, and it kind of was like any other game, like because we had the league, what we were doing well in, we had the FA Trophy that we were doing well in, and we had the FA Cup we were doing well in. So we literally had no time to think leading into these games. We were just rolling out, and that group we had, special group, real special group. We just kept rolling out into games and managing to win and coming from behind and winning games, and then we're going into these big games. And like you say, people forget about the Oldham game at Tinsel Bank because that wasn't classed as such a big game. Then I think it might have was it Ipswich after that.
Yeah, obviously Brighton as well, I think, at one
Yeah,
point.
this is what I mean. People forget these games, and you've got Oldham we played, which was a tough game. And I'll never forget the fog in that game because we thought it was going to get called off. And I think we might have had Guiseley before that. Was that the game before?
In the qualifiers, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we had a tough running. Like it wasn't easy to get where we had, and obviously you got Ipswich, Brighton, then Burnley, then Arsenal. It sounds
I mean,
it sounds
huge
mad
now,
to
like
say
all
it.
Premier
Yeah.
League, yeah.
But it was just a really level-headed group, and we had kind of all like leaders, and we all knew what could come from it, and the managers at the time really drove the group. And yeah, going into them games, it was kind of express yourself. And obviously we had plans going into the games, but we had Matt Reid, who was unstoppable at the time. So if we put it on his head and got round him, we were always going to stand a chance.
I mean, talk to us about that Arsenal game in particular. Obviously, you ignore the result because it's the biggest game in Lincoln City history, really, isn't it? You'd struggle to put one on par with it completely. Just incredible scenes. Obviously, all the people that travelled down to London. What was that like as a player? Because how do you approach a game like that? Because you know that it's going to be very rare that you get a chance like that ever again.
Yeah, yeah, just a whirlwind. Like the whole week leading up to it, there was like 30, 20, 30 like cameras around the training, like all the papers, the news, and all wanting a bit of you. And I remember me and Sam doing it. Sam, yeah, it was Sam. We did a press conference before the Arsenal game, I think it was, and we were upstairs in one of the suites above the dugout co-op stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in the conference room, and we came out through the stadium, through the tunnel, and up the stairs. And when we walked in, there's like you say, like 30, 40 people there, like people we've never seen. Usually we had like 3 or 4 in the room when you used to do a press conference, and they were all there, and they're firing questions at us, and it was just kind of like soak it in, enjoy it, and that's something we did. And then leading up to the game, the whole build up about it, you know what the mad thing is, the the hardest thing was actually sorting tickets out. That was the hardest thing going into the games, getting people tickets and people asking you for tickets and sorting that. So you kind of took your mind away from the actual like maybe like the nerves and the butterflies going into playing at the Emirates and against who we were playing. And at the time, Arsenal weren't doing that well, and the manager was under a bit of pressure. And we were thinking like, what team is he going to put out here? What teams he going to put out? He's under pressure, so he's gonna have to play something strong. And on a previous podcast, I've said like I think Luke came back in with Danny, and they were laughing with the team sheet, and it was like yeah, they're playing the big hitters. So then
Oh
all of
no.
us, we were buzzing. And
Yeah.
the next thing is you're out to warm up, and we literally, well, the pictures and like highlights of it, we filled that corner,
Hmm.
and it was unbelievable. Like all my pals were there, my family were there. I had friends come over from America who were there, so it was unreal. It is all of like kind of all a bit of a blur, like because they were pretty good. Uh, we had a couple of chances, but for sure it's something I'm fortunate that I've been able to do. And every time I go in my utility room, I've got Peter Cech's and Tom Heaton's shirt on the wall with mine in the middle. And you know what? Like you say, it's a privilege to be able to have done that through the hard work that we had. And every time I go in there, I get to remind myself. And as the kids get older, like yeah, a couple of weeks ago, my little girl, she asked me about it, and I started explaining it to her. And you think, you know what, hey, that wasn't a bad year. That
No, not a bad year at all. And obviously, the other thing was obviously the promotion to the EFL. I believe that would have been your first time playing at that level as well with the Imps. What was that like getting that breakthrough in your career as well? Because it's a huge time, isn't it? That jump from non-league football to EFL football. I suppose now not so much because the level has, as you'd say, risen. But still, you're now a football league player, and you've made that stick, haven't you? Obviously, spells at Stevenage, Carlisle, and now Barrow. Um, what was that like as a player? Did you know that you had what it takes to make that step up?
I knew with my attitude and the person that I am, I would be willing to do whatever it takes to play at that level. Eventually, I got there. Something I dreamt of as a kid to play in the football league, and like you say, it's when you look at the stats of it and kids coming up through academies now, it's that 1% of people
Mm.
that actually are being able to do it. And luckily, I am one that percent of playing in the football league. And yeah, I think it was a big jump in uh, I would say standard of your no disrespect to any clubs, but if you looked at the bottom of the conference to the bottom of League Two,
Right.
it's
Okay.
massive. Yeah, it's massive, like you say, and yeah, it was a tricky year. Probably having an unbelievable season in there, getting promoted, um, which again was unbelievable that day. Yeah, well, it was a tricky year for myself. I was in and out, and yeah, I gave it my all to be able to represent Lincoln in the football league again, um, and I managed to the games that I did play, I managed to secure a move for myself.
And obviously Stevenage was that move, and then Carlisle. What were those 2 years of your career like? Did you find yourself trying to find that place where you could lock down that first team football, that first choice spot, and almost make a home like you did at Lincoln? You obviously mentioned what the atmosphere was like at the Imps. Was it tough to try and find a club that could almost replace that family element? Dare I say?
Yeah, I think since I've left Lincoln, I think obviously with the size of the club that Lincoln is, obviously when I was at Carlisle, um, it was COVID, so I never really got to experience that side of it. But yeah, I think the family side of it was obviously brilliant. When my granddad was alive, he used to come to every home game. He was like 80 odd driving from Newcastle to Lincoln on a Friday night, staying in a hotel, and him coming to every game. Then obviously my mum and dad used to come to some games. My wife, she would obviously get to as many games as she could, mostly all of them. And that side of it, we the club when we first came in didn't really have that side because the group was forever changing when we were in the
Mm.
conference until that year where we did go up. We had a kind of those players that had been there a couple of years and a few new lads coming in. We really like created that like bond between families. And at the time, it was Ian McCallum that looked after our families on match days and stuff. And he made it unbelievable. He made it so easy for us players to have no worries about that when we were leading into games, and just being able to again express yourself on a match day.
And then obviously your time at Barrow, you've not made quite as many appearances as you did for Lincoln, but well over 100 for the club.
179, I think.
Yeah, it's something like that. Talk about your time there, because it's obviously been announced that you're not there for next season. But as a club in League Two, what have you made of it
there? First year we went there was tough. We were in a relegation battle, leading into like the last few games of the season. The last month, couple of months, we just couldn't get a win, and we needed a win to get over the line. We changed manager, new manager came in, and the team was always changing, and it was tough. I had an okay year, coming in from Carlisle at the time, which I absolutely loved it at Carlisle. That year through COVID again, we had a real good group at Carlisle of lads. We just missed out on the playoffs because of COVID. Like, we just nosedived. We had a real bad timing in COVID with players getting ill, including myself, and we couldn't get back up and running. So I never got to experience that, the fan side of it as much at Carlisle, because we were only ever allowed 2,000 in it a game for like a couple of months, and changed the rules again to no one coming in. Then going to Barrow was a tough first year, and then coming into the second year, obviously we changed the manager, and we give a real good account of ourselves, punching above the weight. Again, another good year, and then again after that, another good year. We've always been there or thereabouts. Do you know what I mean? With just missing out. I'm gutted that the last, not the season just gone, obviously the season that's still going playoffs. The season before, we missed out by like a one win. I think it was like, I don't know how many points. I really felt like that was a hard one to take, because we were in the playoffs, I think, for all the season, and I think the most time we spent out the playoffs was like 72 minutes, something a crazy stat. It was on the last day or something, and it took a hell of a lot out of me that summer. I was probably wasn't great to be around the first couple of weeks. I had I was playing with kind of like an injury towards the end, trying to get over to the line, and obviously it took a bit out of us. But we've went again this year to start off really well. Fortunate enough to play at Stamford Bridge, go to Chelsea, and actually, unfortunately, again, a lad, were captain at the time now, was injured, and I got to lead the lads out at Stamford Bridge, and that was another incredible experience. And I've done this year, and again, I feel like I've had a good year again at Barrow, and shown what I've got, and made a real connection with the fans and the staff there. And on that side of things, I've left with friends that I'll always keep in touch with through that. And it's football. You move on. It wasn't my decision, so that's it. I said to you, it's forever changing football. I've been fortunate enough in my career to kind of clubs that I've been at. I've spent quite a bit of time there. So again, who knows what's next?
And what's that like as a player? Obviously, you'll have meetings with the manager or the other people behind the scenes and whatnot. You mentioned there it wasn't your decision. What's that like when you know that there's nothing you can do about it effectively? Like, how do you cope with that, and how do you go about, I don't know, finding your next club, finding what it is that you're doing over summer?
Yeah, of course, it's disappointing, isn't it? Because like, I think it's kind of like in any walk of life, in a job, if you feel like you're putting in the hard work, the hours, you kind of always want to feel rewarded, don't you? And obviously, I haven't been in this position for a long time where I'm kind of like out of a deal. In the kind, it's just again staying level headed, never too high, never too low. Keep yourself right. Hopefully, I've done enough in my performances or on my kind of my career that I've been at. Will help me going into good stead at getting a move to somewhere else, and wherever it may be. We know, my family, my wife, we know it's a short career, so you never limit yourself to where it can be. If it's so many hours away or on your doorstep, you've got to take that chance, and that's something that I'm willing to do.
I suppose as a player, you want to play at the highest level possible, but we've seen the level of National League go up through the roof. Obviously, you dare mention the Notts Counties, the Wrexhams, even the Barnets of this year. What level is it that you're looking to play at next year? Do you reckon you've still got what? Well, you back yourself, wouldn't you, to play at League Two level next season?
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, I've worked so hard throughout my career, like everyone. You always feel like you want to get that reward, and I want to play at the highest level possible I can for as long as I can, um, and wherever that is, who knows? I'm willing to do it. Again, I pride myself on how the way I train. I work extremely hard in training. It's something I love training, so it's the hard work side of it I really enjoy. So yeah, going in day out, and again you're making new friends, new memories. You take they'll last forever, and hopefully next year I've got a successful year coming, and I'll do whatever it takes because I absolutely love being part of it.
And we'll wrap up our conversation by talking a bit about League One, I suppose, as a whole this year. We're recording this. We should preface before the final, like on the Thursday of the second semi-final, second leg. So I won't ask for your predictions on that because it might make us both look quite silly and a bit silly. But what have you made of League One as a whole this year? I think for me, I've kind of said money talks this year. It's you've seen sides who invest stay up, and you've seen sides who don't invest struggle this year. And I think that is kind of football as a whole, isn't it?
Yeah, I think again, money talks. It's yeah, you do have them clubs and them teams that will punch above the weight. There'll be them teams every year. That's through that's through players and obviously staff. The camaraderie side of it to get through. Like you say, look at Orient. I think I was watching. Obviously, I was watching that last night. We spoke about it. I really enjoyed it. I love watching playoff games. I absolutely love it. For what's at stake. Uh, and I was listening to their captain's interview after, and I kind of remember they had a real tough patch. They were at Christmas. They were on the relegation zone. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, well, they're around there in November. Yeah, they were
so,
21st, I think. So
this is what I mean. And look where they are now. It's absolutely
mental.
mental football, and that's through that side of it. Of their captain saying like the whole group buying into to what the manager wants and really sticking to the guns when it gets a bit tough in games. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Again, I absolutely love watching any football. And again, that's why why can't I go and play League One?
Mm.
Why should I limit myself? I would love to go and have a crack at it. Again, it's a jump up in standard, like you say. Obviously, the money side of it's um, different to the top to the bottom. But again, hopefully, there'll always be them teams that shock people because that's what makes football enjoyable. And obviously, watching like that last night, it just I don't know, it gives me goosebumps watching football, especially when there's stuff like that on the line and how the games go.
Finally, you mentioned obviously that you know football's not a long career. I suppose you must have turned one eye to what you want to do when you hang up the gloves or hang up the boots. We always see players either there's three kind of paths, isn't there? There's one that abandons football altogether and goes into something else. You strike me as a person who would either go into, dare I say, punditry, EFL punditry, or either goalkeeping coaching. Obviously, you'll have worked with Jimmy Walker, who is a common friend, I guess it's fair to say. Um, which angle? Where do you want to go down? A bit of both.
Yeah, it's hard. I feel like as a player, it's as you get older. Well, I don't know. I think I've struggled to think of that.
Mm.
Really like because my focus since I've been 18 is going to be completely on football and playing, and it's still like that now. Obviously, everyone wants to when they retire from football just live that perfect life, but you don't get that like outside the Championship and Premier League unless you're absolutely mega rich. But I think kind of whatever I fall into, I'll give it 100% and want to be the best I can at it. And again, I do love talking football. I like watching football. I like coaching. I feel like I've kind of not coached obviously this year, but like I've give a kind of
I think that
advice.
leadership, yeah, that leadership
Yeah,
advice, yeah.
to two younger lads that have worked under me this year, and I've loved it. It's been obviously a bit crazy not playing the last few games because I was playing well, but again that's down a different route of why I wasn't playing. And watching Will play, I really enjoyed it. I feel like again, like even with Luke, because you get such a tight knit in your group, and seeing other people do well, he was always happy for me when I done well, and I was happy for him when he came in and done well. And obviously the coaching side of it, yeah, it does sound so easy to get into. Of course, you can do the courses and stuff, but I think your first move is into coaching is probably the hardest, and you've got to kick on from there again. You're starting kind of from the bottom in coaching and working your way up in the coaching side of it. But yeah, I would like to dabble in both sides of it. And again, playing in the football league, you're lucky enough to have the PFA that do help you with these things. So, but at the minute, to answer your question, long-winded, I'm fully focused on football.
Mm.
I can't lie. People do say you should look down into other routes and that, but I'm so deep into it, and I just want to have no regrets when I do actually have to retire from the game. I never want to look back and think, oh, maybe I should have done a bit more that year or something. So that's where I'm at the minute, and I just again hope my hard work pays off.
Well, you live in every single kid's dream, Paul. Thank you so much for your time. We could talk about football all day. We'll probably get you on again at another point because it's been great to have a chat with you, and hopefully have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you very much.
Thank
That
you.
was our episode with Paul Farman. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of the League One Lowdown.